This week, we start reading about Abraham. Avraham Avinu was born into a world full of lies. Every single person around him believed that the idols had control over the world, that the idols are people or things or items we need to serve and we need to bow down to. Avraham Avinu, which we are introduced to in this week's Parsha, the Medrash tells us that his own father was big into these idols. They used to bow down to all these kinds of idols. And Avraham Avinu, why was he called Avraham HaIvri? Ivri means me'ever anahar, on the other side. Avraham came into a world and he realized the world is lies, full of lies. This is crazy. How could I live in a world where my own father doesn't know the truth? I'm being fed lie after lie, after lie after lie. That was Avraham's introduction into the world. And the Medrash tells us the story that one day Avraham Avinu was told by his father Terach, look after the store that I have which sells all these idols. And Avraham Avinu was left there. When the first customer came, Avraham Avinu told him, do you believe the lie that this idol has any power? Do you believe it? This is crazy. The media is lying to you. And so Avraham convinced the client not to buy. And then another client and another customer came in, and every single one of them, Avraham told them, stop believing the lies that you are being fed, that you're being told. And that's why he was called Me'ever Hanahar. The whole world was against him. It took such courage, such power, such stamina to go against the whole entire world. And when his father came back that evening, when Terach came back, Avraham Avinu had smashed all the idols and he left only the biggest idol around alive, so to speak, and he put a big broomstick in the idol's hand. And when his father asked him what happened, Avraham Avinu told his own father, he said, the big idol got jealous of everybody else, so he went and he killed them all. And his father told him, are you Meshuggah? Are you crazy? The big idol can't do that. So Avraham told his father, and you believe in this idol? You think this idol has any power, any stamina, and you bow down and you pray to this person? So Terach saw that this has all gotten out of hand. So he went and he told the king of that era, the king of that town, Nimrod, he went and told him what his son Avraham had done. And Nimrod gathered a big crowd and he created a big furnace. And he told Avraham in front of everybody, who do you believe in? The world media was watching. Everybody was watching. What's Avraham going to do? He said, who do you believe in? Do you believe in everybody's gods, in the truth, in the lies that are being fed? Is that what you believe in? Or do you believe in your God? And Avraham said, you know what courage and strength it took to stand against the lies of the entire universe, because everybody believed in that. Avraham was the first person to introduce belief in one God into the entire universe. And Avraham, because of that, is the founding father of all religions today, the main religions at least. So Avraham said in front of the whole media, I believe in one God. He went and stood against the whole world. By the way, the Talmud tells us that in our generation, the world will be filled with lies. Where does the Talmud say that? In Tractate Sanhedrin, because we are in the era before Mashiach, and before Mashiach, the world is going to be full of lies, exactly what it is today. So Avraham Avinu said, I believe in God. And Nimrod took him, threw him into a furnace because of the truth that he told. And God performed an incredible miracle. And Avraham was saved. Nothing happened to him. But here's the key to the story. Before they threw Avraham into the fire, they asked his brother, Haran, who do you believe in? And Haran said, well, it depends. You see, it took a lot of strength to go against the lies of the whole world. So Haran, his brother, said, it depends. If Avraham is saved by his God, if a miracle happens and he doesn't burn in the furnace, then I believe in the God of Abraham. But if a miracle does not happen to him, then I believe in all the gods of the world, in all the lies that I have been fed my entire life. And when Abraham was saved, they asked him, who do you believe in? He said, the God of Abraham. They threw Abraham's brother into the fire, and what happened to him? He was burnt. Why didn't God perform a miracle for Haran just like he performed a miracle for Avraham? They were two brothers. Because when you go against the world, when you go against the lies of the world, you need to be so certain of the truth that you want God to do a miracle for you. You cannot be wishy-washy about it. The Kabbalah tells us Haran had a very lofty soul. He was a good guy. He was kind of in the middle. He was torn in between. On the one hand, he was being fed the lies of the world. On the one hand, he understood the truth that Avraham was giving him, but he was like caught up in the middle. He couldn't bring himself to escape the lies of the world. But he was a lofty soul. He was in the middle. Kabbalah explains that Haran had to be reincarnated into another human being, into another person to fix his mistake. Who was that person? So the Kabbalah explains that person is Aharon. If you look at the word Haran, Hey, Reish, Nun, and the word Aharon has an extra aleph. Moses' brother Aharon was a reincarnation of Haran. You see, every single one of us today is a reincarnation, and we are here to fix the mistakes of our previous lifetime. And sometimes our soul comes back several times, multiple times, to fix up that mistake. So Aharon fixed up the mistake of Haran. How did he do that? You see, Aharon was also a middle kind of guy. Aharon was in the middle of business partners fighting, of husbands and wives fighting. And when he saw a husband fighting with his wife, he went over to the husband and he lied to him. He said, I just spoke to your wife and she's so sorry and apologetic about what happened and she really loves you and she wants to get together with you again. And then he went over to the wife and he said, I just spoke to the husband and he really wants to get together with you and he's so sorry. And that is how he made peace. Aharon stood in the middle. But you know what the difference between Aharon standing in the middle and Haran standing in the middle? The letter Aleph. The letter Aleph refers to God. The letter Aleph refers to spirituality, to Torah, to God. You see, how do you withstand this world? Only one method, and that is the Torah. When you have the Torah, when you have God as your guiding light, when the Torah shines and illuminates everything for you, every single day you wake up and you study the Torah and you live with the Torah, you will not be sucked into the lies of the world. Not only that, but you will also be able to bring and bridge the gaps, to bring people to peace, to bring people in between. Haran was a great guy, but he was missing that spine, that aleph, that Torah, that conviction, that God, that spirituality. Aharon came back and reincarnated, but he fixed up that mistake. That's also what we read in last week's parsha about Noach and the flood. You see, the flood is not just a story that we read once upon a time. The flood is something happening in our lives every day. The flood is the flood of COVID-19. The flood is the flood of tsaros, our own personal trials and tribulations. How do you escape the flood? You go into the ark. What is the ark in Hebrew? Teva. Teva in Hebrew means the word, Torah. The only way to escape the problems of this world is if you have an iosis of Torah. If you go ahead and study Torah, learning Torah is so important, it's so vital. In today's day and age, it's impossible to function as a normal person if you don't have the Torah as your guiding light, as your inspiration, as something which will help shelter you from the lies that are coming at us on a daily basis, every moment, every day, every hour. More lies and more lies and more lies. The only way to do it is Aharon, the Aleph, the Torah. Let us all have the Torah as our guiding light, as our inspiration, to inspire us, to persevere. We are at the dawn of a new era. Mashiach is right round the corner, the imminent coming of the Messiah. It's happening right now. Enjoy. Have a wonderful evening.